Hello, this is the Klingon Opera House. We are a Star Trek recap podcast, and we are a couple of conveniently bipedal humanoids. I'm Em, and today I'm Mordock because I also excessively talk with my hands.
I'm Ryan, and today I'm Worf because I also am not allowed to fight people when I want to.
Also, happy Pride.
Happy Pride. Pride is happening right now,
Yeah,
though.
currently is. I
Yeah.
actually just came from the Pride Parade in Milwaukee.
Fun story, fucking hate Pride.
Yeah.
I, I mean, wasn't it originally for like the Stonewall riots, and
hmm
then it suddenly just became like, ooh, gay flags. Let's do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? Good for the queers who like doing that kind of stuff, right? And
hmm
absolutely, go be proud, go do all that stuff. That is 100% valid. It's just not for me because it's always like being a homo presented by Chase Bank or something
Right,
like that.
right. Yeah. I mean, that's fair. It's not for everybody. I feel like it's kind of like how not all Americans are really excited about the 4th of July. It's just they don't really want to wear red, white, and blue.
Yeah, well, like I actively hate the 4th of
Oh,
July.
same here, but
Which
just as a metaphor.
yeah, I think more so the comparable thing for me is you ever heard of Star Wars Celebration?
As in May the 4th.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
where everyone goes around on May the 4th and like, May the 4th be with you. I fucking love Star Wars, right? Star Wars fans, this is gonna be a controversial take, but they haven't had a solid actual win in over 20 years. So like, you know what? Fuck it. Enjoy it. Be a dweeb. Whatever. Not for me. Not something that I'm gonna go around and be like, I'm gonna go to Anaheim and go to the fucking Star Wars Celebration convention or something like that, right? I don't know. It's Rocky Horror Picture Show for me too. Go be weird, have fun with it. Theater kids, not for me though.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, the Pride Parade was easily 2/3 corporate this year.
Really?
Yeah. And like part of it is that it's like I think it's a lottery, and when it fills up and there's no more.
Uh,
And, like, that's also what I've just generally heard. I don't know that for sure. But I think it'd be better if, like, you had corporations that could sponsor slots for, like, nonprofits or, like, gay businesses in the area. Like, Associated Bank sponsoring the Milwaukee LGBT Community Center. And then that's their float.
yeah, that'd be cool.
I got a lot of candy, though. So that's
That's what you want. Yeah, dude. No, it's like
cool.
my buddy got a Harley Davidson Pride bandana. That goes hard. That's nuts, right?
hmm
But it's like I feel like a gay pride parade should just be like no events other than like a drag show and then like Madonna plays. That's it. Like it should just be like everyone getting ridiculously trashed off of like very fruity drinks.
I do enjoy how family friendly Pride is, though, because you see, like, there's a lot of kids there, and that's really cool to see. It's not that I'm assuming every kid that I see is gay, but it's cool to know that, like, if that kid is not gay or doesn't think that they're gay at that point in their lives, they just know not to be shitty to their gay classmates.
Well, and it socializes them to some extent in like an environment where it's like, yes, being gay is not shitty, right?
Yeah,
And it's good. And I don't know. Yeah, I suppose it's just not for me.
that's
You know.
fine.
Yeah.
I know we've been tangenting for a long time now, but I have a heartwarming story about Pride.
Okay, go for it.
So, pre-pandemic, last 2 years before the pandemic, there's a Pride group at my workplace,
Mhm.
and I don't want to say where I work, but big corporate.
Yeah.
Like they do it like a group to walk in the parade. So Maddie and I met at the beginning of September, and that summer before, I was walking in the parade, and as I'm walking, I see someone holding a free hug sign, and it's like what seems like kind of a family unit ish type of group.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, cool, free hugs. And so I'm not afraid of like COVID yet.
Yeah. This is 2019. We're
Yeah.
fine.
So I jump out of the parade and give them hugs. And then I keep walking. And then a couple months into Maddie and I dating, we were like discussing our Pride experiences. And I was like, oh, yeah, I walked in the parade. And then I hugged this person with a free hug sign last year. And Maddie was like, really? That was me.
Oh my God.
Wait, you haven't heard this story?
No.
We told this story so many fucking
Holy
times. I just
shit.
presume everyone knows it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. So we we hugged each other before we'd ever met.
For the first time.
Yeah.
I cried.
She was with the family that she used to what is it, nanny, or what do you call it? Respite care, I think
Maybe?
is. Yeah, yeah, like a like nannying plus special needs.
Yeah.
But like the family's basically like family friends too, and like the mom is like my masseuse.
Yeah.
So and then like today, when we were watching, we found them in the crowd and we just stood with them, and I was just like, we've come full circle.
Full circle. Full circle moment.
Yeah.
This is just like how that hug was the beginning of the long con to do a Star Trek
Yeah.
podcast.
Ah.
Uh, Speaking of which, we are homosexuals, but
Uh-huh. I don't know where this is going at all.
this is a podcast with a
Yes.
theme, that being trekking stars, or fuck, right? The Last Outpost.
All right, so this is insert post recording. While editing, and also kind of in the moment, we were realizing that we were like way going on tangents, talking about the Ferengi for background. So we decided in a future episode, we want to talk more about the Ferengi as an anti-Semitic trope and satire about capitalism once we get more screen time with them and more lore laid out. For now, in this episode, we're going to cover the approach the showrunners took to the Ferengi world building at the beginning of this series. So yeah, here we go.
Anyway, should I tell you about my homework that I did?
Yes.
Okay.
Please present to the class, Em.
All right. So on reception of this 5th episode of The Next Generation, it received the lowest Nielsen rating of the whole first season.
Really?
Yeah. But I mean, think about it. Like all the episodes that have come before this have been like
Real class. Yeah.
I'll bet a whole bunch of people who are just like, okay, keep watching this. This sucks. I'm gonna keep watching it. Fuck it, I'm done.
We got to Code of Honor, and we were like, we're fucking done with season one.
You know, it's almost good that I went in reverse from Voyager to DS9 to Enterprise, because if I was not emotionally invested in DS9 and Voyager, I would never have gotten through Next Generation.
I had the advantage, though, of basically sleeping through the whole first fucking season. Because what I did was I started the first season and I slept through like 2 episodes of it or whatever the first time around. And I got to, I think it was Code of Honor. And I was talking to my buddy Calvin, and I was like, Code of Honor fucking sucks. This season 1 fucking sucks. He was like, I know, dude. Skip. Go to the next season.
Yeah. You know, I think I did look up a list of like the episodes that were actually good, and then the episodes that gave you information that was important for later on.
Yeah.
And then I knew to like skip some episodes so I could just like fucking get through it. But anyway, so some people would say that this is kind of a homage. Some people would say it's a ripoff of the original series, season 1, episode 18, Arena.
Man, I liked this episode.
So here's it's like the structure of the plot.
Mhm.
Enterprise pursues a Gorn ship in response to an unprovoked attack, and both ships also get stuck without power in orbit of an unknown planet whose occupants force the captains of each ship to fight each other.
Yes.
So same structure.
Same structure.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I haven't seen this episode of OG series. I don't watch original series, and we're going to leave it at that.
You know, when we eventually do get to it, when we're picking which original series episodes to watch, we should watch the ones that like later episodes of later franchises are based on, and we can like see like the OG version of it.
Do we have to watch Mirror Dimension episodes then?
What?
Mirror Dimension appeared originally in the original Star Trek.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're watching that.
Yes. Even though I just spent a large amount of time explaining how I think the Ferengi are an anti-Semitic trope, I'm gonna go to bat for this episode because there are some things that I actually really do like about it.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, I think that's kind of the nature of any kind of media. You can definitely have some really fucking awful nuggets in there, and then some really
You
good
take
nuggets.
the good with the bad.
Yeah.
You know, the Force and the way they talk about the Force in Star Wars, a little fucked up and Orientalist. Yoda, funny little green guy though. So I am, Mr. I fucking hate nostalgia bait, stuff like that.
You really are.
Um,
I'm making that a piece on the bingo card. Ryan gets mad about nostalgia.
Yeah, I think it's destroying art. Fuck nostalgia bait, but I'm also rewatching Deep Space Nine for the 3rd time.
Only your 3rd.
No, shut up. Though I am Mr. Against like nostalgia baiting. If you do it well, you do it well. This episode isn't the fucking greatest episode of Star Trek. I think it's just because we've been like watching such shit for the first 4 episodes. But it's like, I don't know if you had this experience. I think everyone had this experience. But when The Force Awakens came out, after the prequels, everyone was like, we need to win. And they came out with a solid like 7.5 movie, decent. It's just it's just A New Hope, but with, Rey instead of Luke, right? Whatever, who cares? Yeah, I think it's an okay movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was like, this movie is fucking great because we had to have, again, Star Wars fans have not gotten a win for over 20 years. And, while my opinion on it has changed, then I was like, oh, this was a good movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same way watching this, where it's like 4 episodes of just trash, just fucking garbage, and then one 6 out of 10 episode.
Yeah. Well, it's like there's cuts and scenes in all these episodes that are even like a 9, but they're in a 4.5 episode. Like that
Yes.
scene with
Yeah.
like Geordi and Data where Geordi's shaving. Such a cute scene. Fucking love that scene.
Yeah, or
sorry, go ahead.
Concepts in this. I'm gonna do this like, again, keep making Star Wars references, but like The Last Jedi, where like overall the movie
I think
is
you
bad.
don't need to preface this shit
Yeah.
anymore. We know what's going to happen.
Yeah, overall bad movie, but there are concepts in it that I'm like, fuck yeah, that's cool, right? And that, I think, levels that movie out to like a 5 for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this episode, there is stuff that I think is very interesting and well played. Like when they're like, we have no idea what the fuck's going on in this, in this. We don't know anything about the Ferengi ship. They are firing at us. We are firing at them. They won't answer hail communications, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of that stuff, keeping each other in the dark. We know the only thing we know about them is that they're like this uber capitalist fucking whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Great. That idea of like, it's going to be tense. It's going to be fucking like, oh, what the fuck are we doing? And then, the Ferengi comes on screen and he's like, humans, we are not fucking surrendering. We will listen to your demands. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking fantastic twist. That's a good, like
that was fun.
That was fun. The second half of this episode kind of falls flat until, of course, the end, but yeah. I'm getting ahead of myself, though.
Yeah, so what I have here, Will Wheaton, he reviewed this episode for, I think it was Yahoo TV or something, like in 2006, something like that. I'm remembering these particular details off the top of my head, so I'm probably a little off. But around it, in that general context, Will Wheaton said that the cast in general weren't fans of the finger cuffs gimmick or of the Ferengi in general. Also, the Ferengi were meant to replace the Romulans and Klingons, but after the first few appearances, that idea was kind of dropped for obvious reasons. Apparently, while filming, they were considering the Ferengi as like legit serious bad guys. But it was only after filming did they realize that it just came off as super crazy goofy.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
You clothe your women?
Yeah. Like on the one hand, I've totally done the thing where I've been like, roll in it, working on something like, yeah, this is great. And I step back or like I come back the next day and I'm just like, what the fuck? This is not what I was going for. Like, I know how that can happen, but like you recorded a whole episode without realizing that this was just way too goofy.
It's the power of that 80s Coke, man. They were in that writer's room just.
Maybe.
Like, it's something like that.
Yeah. Also, so you probably noticed Armin Shimmerman, who plays Quark, was one of these Ferengi not extras, but he wasn't like the captain.
Yeah.
And he's kind of the one that you get the most screen time of. Like, it's probably almost equal with the captain. And because he, came back to the show and played Ferengi again, he was like he felt so bad. He felt like he like kneecapped what the Ferengi could be with that performance, and he like has said that to him the first like few seasons of DS9 was making up for that.
Wow.
Yeah, like that's what he was giving to the performance. Which good job. You did it.
Yeah. No, you knocked it out of the park on that one.
Yeah. So about the aesthetic choices of the making of the Ferengi, I think so. Andrew Robert was a major contributor. This guy worked on the Cylon design in the original Battlestar Galactica, worked on Tron, and within Star Trek, he mainly worked on human and Vulcan tech aesthetic, and he made all the starship exteriors for Next Generation Season 1. Also, he did I think the first concept of the Klingon bridge for Next Gen, and that set the standard for the rest of the what we call the Prime franchise. TNG, DS9, Voyager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking good work on that. I love the way the Klingon bridges work.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah. I don't know, looking these people up, either you find absolutely no information about them, or they're so connected and it's such a small world.
Yeah.
So modifications to Andrew Probert's original idea were made by Michael Westmore. Michael Westmore was a makeup artist with a 40-year career, and he made makeup kits for CIA spies.
Oh.
And his daughter is the host of Face Off.
Face. Oh. You ever seen that movie?
What movie?
You've never seen Face Off?
It's a TV show about makeup and the prosthetics.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
The movie Face Off is about a movie about Nicolas Cage and John Travolta.
Oh my god.
Playing opposite, basically, Nicolas Cage.
Does Nicolas Cage play John Travolta and John Travolta plays Nicolas Cage?
Yes.
Are you fucking serious?
Yes. The concept is that Nicolas Cage is this fucking international fucking.
So excited.
It's the best movie ever. International fucking criminal, and John Travolta is this FBI agent who has to track him down. But I forget how it happens in the plot of the movie, but they switch faces. So Cage has to play Travolta, and Travolta has to play Cage.
Okay, so is this a Harry Potter movie 8 situation where it's Bellatrix Lestrange playing Hermione, but it's the actress of Bellatrix Lestrange playing Hermione, or is it one of them with the other's makeup on?
No, it is John Travolta acting like Nicolas Cage and Nicolas Cage acting like John Travolta.
I mean, I would not have been disappointed by either.
There is a line in the movie where Nicolas Cage puts his hand up to his face and he goes, face. Oh, it's the best fucking movie.
It sounds like a trip.
Fucking Nick Cage has twin golden handguns in it.
Oh my god.
It rocks.
I gotta watch that. That sounds amazing.
Face Off. Classic. 10 out of 10.
So that's the name of the movie, Face Off.
Face Off.
Okay. No, yeah. So Face Off is also a reality TV show where it's kind of like Inked.
Oh, but with makeup.
Yeah, movie
prosthetics. That's cool as fuck. I should watch that.
Yeah, that's another one of those where I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I should watch it, and then I never do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, his daughter hosted it, and he did come on as a guest star kind of situation once, which I'm sure all the competitors just shit their pants.
Shitting and farting myself.
So this tattoo that's on the foreheads of the Ferengi that doesn't really figure in DS9, the tattoo, it's a symbol that means dog eat dog. I don't know what kind of key they're working off of. Yeah, I wonder if they made a Ferengi alphabet. And then also did they create the Ferengi language for this episode?
They don't speak it.
No, but in terms of naming conventions.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, on the one hand, you don't really see a lot of that in the actual show, but because they were supposed to replace the Klingons and Romulans, I wonder if they really did all that legwork beforehand. But anyway, so that's what the symbol means.
Yeah.
And each bar next to the main symbol, which the production crew referred to as a rocker,
mm-hmm.
Each bar referred to military rank. More bars, more rank.
Oh, the fucking
pips.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was the tattoo. It was designed by Mike Okuda, who is best known for Star Trek futuristic computer user interfaces, aka Okudagrams. People called them Okudagrams because he was so good and known for this.
Jesus Christ, man.
Super cool. And Mike Okuda also consulted on scientific explanations for technobabble. So kind of helping to match actual scientific theory with, plot devices.
Bullshit technobabble.
Yeah, but make it plausible enough.
Yeah.
And this led to the creation of a tech Bible addendum to the show Bible that was given to writers based on his consultations.
That's cool.
Yeah. He also wrote Star Trek books with his wife, Denise. That sounds super sweet.
Yeah.
He stuck in a lot of subtle jokes into the creation of like this set design.
Mhm.
He always made them so subtle that like just a casual viewer would never notice them.
Yeah.
But like for example, in one scene in Voyager, Seven of Nine is holding like a roster. She doesn't like read off the roster, she's just holding it. And the names on the list are characters from the West Wing. It'll be like Lieutenant J. Bartlett.
Haha.
Yeah.
That is pretty funny, but also fuck the West Wing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've said that on this podcast before.
It's brain candy for a liberal, and it can be fun if you don't think too hard about it.
Yes. No, it's a great blanket show.
Yeah.
Like weighted blanket show.
Throw it on when you're sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this guy worked on DS9, Voyager, Enterprise, and Picard, and he made logos for NASA.
Oh, that rocks.
Super cool nerds worked on this shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Probert, who's the guy who worked on the Cylon design of the OG Battlestar Galactica, he also made the design of the Ferengi starship. It was inspired by the horseshoe crab. And the actual miniature was constructed by Greg Jane, who I think I'm saying his name right. Greg Jane also worked on Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like I don't know, just like knowing what else these people worked on is just so interesting to me.
I'm really sad. I mean, I think CG can look really good, especially for like space flight and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really sad that these like sort of art of like making a miniature to fucking represent a ship or something is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, like have you ever heard anything about like ways that they like filmed the Death Star run and stuff like that in A New Hope? And it's just like it's so cool. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I
Yeah.
don't know. I like practical effects. I know like I don't want to like default to the like opinion of like practical effects are always better than CGI because that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's not that CGI is easier precisely. Like CGI can be really fucking hard.
no, like look at Avatar. Like that
Yeah.
movie is fucking like
Crazy.
No, and I'm not. I think it's easy to hate on like non-artistic use of CGI. There was non-artistic use of practical effects back in the day and shit like that.
Yeah. Also, apparently the Ferengi prosthetics took 4 hours to put on. By DS9, they shaved it down to 3.
Ooh.
But can you, I mean, even 3, like, can you imagine taking that long to get ready for anything?
Bone.
You're really committed.
I will do the full 9 yards for boning. I will like, you don't even
Trim
know.
your toenails.
Trim my toenails. I don't know, like, yeah, no, like that's fucking insane. Like, unless it's like a test. I've never like spent more than an hour preparing for something.
Yeah.
Including this podcast.
Oh, originally the satellite ears of the Ferengi were pointed, but there were concerns with the audience thinking it was a ripoff of the Vulcans.
Yeah, and I feel like the pointed ears thing, I like the huge Ferengi ears because, like, I feel like the pointed ears is such a fucking played out trip. Like, okay, Vulcans are just elves.
Yeah, they're space elves.
Yeah.
That's like a recurring joke online.
Yeah, like, at least Warhammer is honest when they call them, when they're like the Eldar, who are called elves a lot. I think, I don't know. Well, the Ferengi are so fucking problematic. The design for them is so cool.
Yeah. Now, also, if their ears had been pointed, they would have legit looked like goblins. If they would have just been like, it's just space goblins. But when they're rounded, they just look super goofy, which did not help when the goal is to make you take them seriously.
Yeah, well, and the Klingons are space orcs.
I feel like they're, you know those mercenaries in Lord of the Rings that are like kind of Oriental pirate generic looking.
Yeah, they're that.
They're that plus the orcs, like
mesh.
Smoosh them together and rocket them into space.
That is, yeah, true. Every like sci-fi or fantasy group, you can be like, this is just this Lord of the Rings fucking thing.
Yeah. There are no new ideas, but
yeah.
Yeah. So the Ferengi were also supposed to have an extended chin, which was dropped to reduce the time of doing makeup.
They should have given them the fucking like Giga Chad chin. That'd be fucking awesome.
It would have been so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, think about like just having a casual one-time extra You know, like how we were talking like the Bajor, there's probably like one that size fits all like nose
No,
ridges.
yeah, you can't just be
Like,
like a casual Ferengi extra. They're like, okay, get in the chair, 3 hours. Just
yeah.
fine.
Well, also like these parts, like with all, you know, you got the expanded forehead, the big ears, the nose ridges. I think there's like maybe like a little bit of like adding to like cheekbones going on.
Yeah,
And then you got the teeth prosthetics.
yeah,
Like that is so many pieces that need to fit perfectly together. And like, you know, how sometimes when you see like a one-off Klingon extra and you're like, you just have like silly putty on your head. Like it
yeah,
does not look like it's part of you.
yeah.
Like imagine how stupid your one-off
Fucking
Ferengi
Ferengi.
extra would
Yeah.
look. If the especially if you had the chin. It would just look like they had a banana sitting on their chin.
Yes.
But
And I would think it is incredibly.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, it would have been funny, but not we wouldn't have taken it seriously.
Yeah, well, I think that's also half of the problem. I have a really hard time taking a lot of shit seriously when it comes to fiction.
No, you.
Because like I don't know, like a lot of like I'm a sci-fi fan, obviously. I'm a fantasy fan, all of that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of stuff where it's like, oh yeah, I can get into this, but like I think it was JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that put my brain in this mindset where I was like, just don't take it seriously.
Mm.
You know, when that guy punches a frog or whatever and it cracks a rock under it but doesn't hurt the frog, just kind of be like, oh yeah, it rocks. It's funny.
Let's see, more on the Ferengi. According to Herbert J. Wright, Gene Roddenberry wanted to put a huge codpiece on the Ferengi. And he talked for like 25 minutes about their sex positions.
I think Gene Roddenberry wants to fuck a Ferengi.
Gene Roddenberry wants to fuck everything.
True. He'd fuck a triple if you gave him the chance.
He'd fuck a space ghost that dated your grandma.
Space Ghost, coast to coast, baby.
Yeah, but eventually Herbert reminded him it was a family show, so that didn't happen.
Lame. You can see Riker's bulge like this whole episode. Family show my ass. Naked now happened.
Yeah. So apparently there were no ear holes or there's no like hollowed out portion on the prosthetics for the ears.
Mhm.
And so that meant that the ears were pinned back. And it's like, think of like when you're falling asleep and your ears like smoosh to your head and how much it fucking hurts when you wake up.
Oh,
Like
God.
that's just what it felt like after like half a day of acting. And I imagine there wasn't a hole to hear out of. So like I wonder if there were any problems ever of like
Communication.
or just like, you know, starting your line before the next person's line isn't over.
Yeah.
Uh
God. Can you imagine like my Deep Space Nine like staying in those fucking prosthetics?
yeah, so by the time they got to Deep Space Nine, they did update the prosthetics to allow space for the ears. And also that's when they created the mold for the back of the head to like transition down into the neck.
Mhm.
And that's why Quark does not wear the head lamp shaped thing on the back of his head.
Yeah.
And you know, that was an interesting thing that I was thinking about that I think about often while watching Deep Space Nine. Like, does the lampshade denote like rank or class or something? Because like some wear them, some don't.
It could just be like, check this drip out, dude. Fucking look at my lampshade on my neck.
I mean, like the grunt workers always wear them, but like Brunt, I don't think wears them.
Yeah, I thought the fucking Grand Magus wore one.
You know, I wonder if this is a case where like the lampshade was more a matter of budget and FX, but it like without that in mind, it reads as like some kind of cultural statement when it's really just like we didn't have the time and budget to like get the bolt to transition to the back of the neck on this one person who shows up like 4 times.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say it in a much stupider way, which is like sometimes they're just like fuck it, like you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a valid way to put it. Let's see. Also, one last interesting fact: the word Ferengi was derived from the Arabic Farengi. So just replace the e's with a's.
Mhm.
And I'm also totally not saying that correctly. And it's a word for European foreigners.
Huh.
Hmm.
I thought it was an allusion to they were like notoriously like a trading roving people. They were the ones who started the colony that eventually became Carthage. Holy shit. Holy shit, I should know this. It starts with a P. I'm a history major. I should know this.
I don't know, but now.
Phoenicians.
Oh, man, I heard that word so often at church. I should have remembered that.
Oh yeah, it's like a Bible thing, right?
Yeah.
I was raised as an atheist. People who are listening, so I know shit about Christianity.
I blocked that shit out, so I also don't remember a lot. What I remember really well is a shame and trauma, but
What I remember is that Jonah got vored by the whale. Uh,
uh,
yeah, more facts, more nerd shit. Let's go. Whoa. Sorry.
well, yeah. So that's all I have on background. I have a bit about the writing credits.
Mhm.
So written by Herbert Wright, who also worked on War of the Worlds, which is apparently a TV series, and he was known for writing quote weird shit. Like that was just a common thing to be like, oh yeah, Herbert just wrote some more weird shit this time.
Nice.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
This was based on a story by Richard. Jesus, I have no idea how to say this thing.
Kresmine?
Yes. Did Google him, didn't find a bunch that was worth mentioning. Also didn't spend too much time on it because,
Who cares?
I had a certain amount of time to do homework and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
We have a directing credit by Richard Kalla, who was an actor in Days of Our Lives. My mom watched the shit out of that when I was a kid. I don't know about your parents. Yeah, so this guy acted in Days of Our Lives, has a directorial credits for Battlestar Galactica, I presume the original, Miami Vice, MacGyver, and Murder, She Wrote.
Nice.
Yeah.
Baller.
I mean, like, I don't know anything else about this guy, but just based on what he's worked on, I feel like he'd be fun at a party.
Yes.
Yeah, like a where there's charcuterie and everyone's having like a beer or two.
Yeah.
Maybe you're playing charades and it's just like all couples.
Yeah.
All just getting away from your kids for 2
You're
hours.
talking about a swingers party.
No, you need more than 2 hours for that.
Depends on who you are.
Okay, that's all I got on writing and directing credits. Shall I hop into the show?
Yeah, let's actually.
The real show, the show itself, the whole point of this podcast. Yeah, so we open with the Enterprise in pursuit of a Ferengi vessel, which is suspected of stealing a Federation energy converter. And at this point, the Federation knows basically nothing other than rumors about the Ferengi. So they're also seeing it as an opportunity to make contact with them and find out some shit.
The chase stops at a planet in the Delphi Ardu system, and the Ferengi vessel drops out of warp. The Enterprise, the really fluctuations of their power output, possibly the engine failed. They feel like the alternator's fucked up on the Ferengi ship.
Mm-hmm.
And after a little bit, the Ferengi vessel just starts fucking shooting at the Enterprise.
Yeah. Also in the first few opening minutes of the show where they're chasing them, I think that it's very next gen, that there's not a whole lot of background music. And the way that's so silent, I was just like, this just feels like I'm in a cubicle.
I agree, it's a little weird, but I kind of like it.
Really. It makes me uncomfortable.
And that's kind of why I like it.
Really?
Okay. I am a big advocate for the idea that if you're trying to go for emotional impact in something that's supposed to be scary or dangerous, sometimes it undercuts your intention to add in a music sting or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you let the scene speak for itself, if you let tension build by itself, right,
Mm-hmm.
it builds more naturally. In a horror movie, if you hear the or whatever the fuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the sting of strings or whatever, you're always oh, they're trying to scare me. If you don't do that, right, it almost lets that uncomfort seek in.
Yeah.
I really like that in a movie or something.
It makes you pay more attention because you're getting less information.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I could see what you mean there. But I'm thinking of I remember specifically in this in Deep Space Nine, where at the open of the show, it starts with a captain's log or something, and it's you've got some intro music that fades out into the first 10 seconds of the scene,
Mm-hmm.
and then the scene doesn't have background music or minimal, and that doesn't bother me. But the dry start with no music past the opening theme of I don't know, it just puts me off.
It's a fair opinion to have.
Mm-hmm.
So Picard is we're not going to shoot at these fucks because we've been chasing them, right? We can't be mad at them for shooting at us.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're trying to rescue a dog that's backed itself into a corner, the dog bites you. It's you can't be mad at the dog. Yeah. This makes sense.
You're a fucking strange human
Yeah.
cornering them, right?
Yeah, so they're stopped in space, and they're just like kind of treading water while they're like trying to figure out what's going on and not sending a volley back. And then they realize that something is pulling the Enterprise towards their ship, like they're drifting when they're not supposed to. And then they lose power, phasers and shields are offline, and they're getting really confusing readings, and then they realize they're like stuck in some kind of like energy trap.
Yeah. And I had a note, hold on. The cold opening ends with the Ferengis have us in their sights, right where they want us, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I thought that line was just a little fucking weird. Um,
They're really trying to tell you this is an ominous situation in case you didn't catch on to that.
yeah.
It's the same as in Code of Honor, Lieutenant going like while talking to Picard.
Yeah. I enjoy a lot of Star Trek on the basis of that's funny. Like
Yeah, it's campy.
yeah, I think I enjoy Star Trek on a level very different than a lot of other people because I always approached it with the mindset of like, let's have some fucking weird, wacky sci-fi fun
Yeah.
instead of like, this is a serious fucking commentary on human fucking relations, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's meant to be a little bit goofy.
It's a little goofy, silly, you know?
Well, you know, this show wants to be serious and goofy at the same time. Like, it isn't, I'm just thinking of sitcoms. Like, it's not a sitcom, but like it does like play around a bit.
The closest analogy I think I have to this is like more Star Wars shit, the Clone Wars TV show,
Mm-hmm.
where it's an anthology thing about like fucking Anakin and Ahsoka going around space or doing shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it lets itself be goofy, it lets itself be serious. It's a pretty good show, right? I honestly I think it's a pretty good parallel for Star Trek, but especially this one. They're not going straight for laughs. And they are obviously like there is like the whole like, oh, it's trying to make you think thing. But like I think the funniest shit is all the stuff that they don't want to be funny, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think especially early on. I think as the show goes on, and like particularly in later franchises, I think that they nail this earlier on of like juggling both your serious moments and also just being goofy.
Yeah.
And there, I mean,
Deep Space
almost,
Nine is king is at that, right?
yeah, but
Like,
almost nothing lands in the first season. So of course, this balance
is
feels
fucked.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we move on to Act 1?
Yes.
All right. So the bridge crew has lost contact with engineering, and it looks like they have power, but they can't tap into it.
Right.
They can't use it. They have a full gas tank, but the line's been cut. Yeah, and Troy can't sense anything from the Ferengi, but she says that they might know how to shield their minds. Then it becomes part of Ferengi lore that like betazoids can't sense their emotions. And I mean, I think that's another layer of like they are only greed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. Next gen. They're
Right.
only green.
Right. Yeah.
There's a very clear difference between next gen and DS9 because in DS9, Ferengi are allowed to be characters. They're allowed to be complex. They're allowed to be non-static.
Mm-hmm. There was a thud, and I really hope my landlord didn't just fall off the roof. And that would have been louder.
Yeah.
No, like so that we've been having a lot of roof issues in our building, and so they've been like climbing up there a bunch recently. And it's like I'll just like look out my window and see my landlord's feet on the building next to us. And yeah, I don't know. Like, and so I work from home, and so like periodically we'll just look out the window during the day on a Tuesday, like, oh, there's the landlord's feet. Really hope I don't hear my landlord die in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like it's just
That would suck.
It's just an extra layer to my daily anxiety.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Ferengi they're allowed to be characters in Deep Space Nine. Arguably emotionally complex characters as far as Star Trek goes.
I like that caveat.
Yeah.
I have a theory as to why they can't be read. I wonder if the Ferengi, because they're so performative, because they're always after something in every interaction, they're always multitasking.
Mhm.
And so when they're having a conversation with you, they're not just having a conversation with you. They're having like a conversation with all of their plans at once.
Could be a. I think okay. I'm going to compare it to so in Warhammer there are these things called psychers where they can use psychic energy from this thing called the warp, which is this huge fucking basically other dimension, and everyone has a signal in the warp. But some people have like stronger signals in the warp, right? But there's also stuff where it's like there are certain groups of aliens who have no psychers. They have because the gene hasn't shown up in their society yet, or something like that, right? It could be to some extent that like maybe Ferengi just don't have the gene that gives off the fucking emotional thing, right?
Yeah, so like biologically they're not compatible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what the like in the technobabble Bible of Star Trek, I wonder if there's like kind of a semi-scientific explanation for how empath powers work. Like I feel like for telepathy, it's usually kind of more about brain activity
Mhm.
and like electrical signals.
Yeah.
But then for being an empath, I wonder if that's more about hypersensitivity to hormones.
Oh, maybe.
But I don't know, because like my general layman understanding of biology is that estrogen does sort of similar things in different kinds of animals.
Yeah.
But like you can take testosterone from a pig and use it medically. You give me a weird look. There's certain hormones that you can take from livestock and use it medically.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what to say. Like pig testosterone? What?
yeah, I mean, kind of like how I don't know. It's not. This is like on a more macro level, but like you can have a pig heart transplant.
Yeah.
But I think that like these hormones do different things at different levels in different animals, but they're like involved in kind of the same function, I think. So maybe because there's that like biological standard, that's why they can read more than one kind of alien. Also, that supposes that they evolved similarly, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's Star Trek. We're already making a lot of assumptions.
Well, it's also like, I mean, everyone's like a fucking carbon-based life form, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe they evolved similarly for like similar things, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It could also be like maybe the fucking betazoids have like a higher form of like mind reading. This is really getting off track.
Oh my god.
The betazoids are psychers, and the warp exists in Star Trek. That is what warp speed is. Okay.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Okay, let's see.
No, I completely was with you on the derailing. Don't be.
Okay, so Troy can't read them. Bridge crew thinks the Ferengi have somehow caused the power failure, which is trapping them.
Yeah, because they're like, we don't know shit about Ferengi technology, about anything about the Ferengi, right? So they could have this like nutso like technology, which very cool idea where it's like fog of war. We have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, and I think from their initial scans, the planet below them seems inert, so they're just like not worried about it to begin with.
Yeah.
So Picard asks Data what he knows, like what's in the Federation files about the Ferengi, and Data Book reports that the scholars regard the Ferengi as traders who value profit above all else. Quote, not unlike Yankee traders of the 18th and 19th century North America. Data's like, there's not much aside from gossip and conflicting reports. And Riker's like, which reports do not conflict? And he's yelling at him like he's mad at Alexa.
Yeah.
Like, again, people just treating their Data dirty.
In my notes right here, I'm pretty sure it's after Picard says something shady to him. Yeah. Everyone is mean to Data. I wrote it. Everyone is mean to Data. I'm like, be nice to our son. Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. Riker's like, oh, my fucking forebears. Does that mean that they're like us? And Data's like, hardly. The analogy refers to the worst qualities of capitalists, following the dictum cavet emptor, or buyer beware.
Mm-hmm. And Riker's like, Yankee traders. I like the sound of that. And like as he says that, he's just like looking into the middle distance, just like white man confidence, saying like,
good to know that the concept of America still exists.
Well, apparently it's not like common knowledge anymore because they're talking about flags, and most people on the bridge are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, even though Picard gives a ton of a fuck about France for whatever reason.
Yeah, but apparently Riker knows that he has American lineage
from America,
which could mean a lot of different things.
Data's like, I don't think they'll be wearing red, white, and blue and look like Uncle Sam. And Worf turns to him and goes, uncle? Like,
Yeah, like, who?
who?
Again, a funny exchange. Like, legitimately, I was giggling. But damn, do these nerds actually refrain from monologuing about obscure facts to each other? Like if
To be
you
fair,
turn
we do this.
no, if you were to turn to me and be like, "Who?" I'd be like, "Let me fucking tell you," instead of just looking at you and just being like, "Oh my god!" Like, who does that?
Yeah.
Like, let me tell you about these fun facts I know.
Yeah. No, like, well, to be fair, they do spend a substantial period of time being like, ooh, flag colors. Let's talk about
Well,
those.
so Picard's doing that, but then to explain what happens, they mention red, white, and blue, and someone's like, "What the fuck does that mean?" And Picard's like, "Oh, the colors of the flag are red, white, and blue. The French used the same colors, but in a different combination. And it was better."
Yeah.
And then Data is like, "Oh, we're talking about flags? I know all the flags." And he just starts listing them off. And then Picard's like, it's like,
Shut the fuck up.
like, I'm here being smart, not you.
Everyone is mean to Data.
Yeah.
Be nice to my son.
Yeah.
He
Also,
is, even though Brett Spiner is like 60 or whatever the fuck, he is my son.
yeah.
Down in engineering, Riker and LaForge, they're trying to figure out the escape plan with like going to warp, because they're like, oh, if we go to warp, that'll like fuck with the force field or whatever, right?
Yeah, because so I thought that this was a huge missed opportunity in this episode to like connect the Chinese finger trap as like an explicit analogy to the trap the ship is in.
Yes.
Because like Jordy explains that like whatever direction they're applying force to with their propulsion, the trap pushes back with equal measure, but there's a slight delay to the response. And the slight delay is like what, like 0.3 seconds longer than it takes to get to warp.
Uh-huh.
So they were like, we're a little faster. We can like get out of here before the trap works.
Mhm.
That is a Chinese finger trap. That's how those work.
Yeah.
And the fact that they did not explicitly, like the fact that like when Jordy was explaining this to Riker, that he just didn't have one in his pocket. He's like, "Oh, one of the kids gave this to me earlier. They were fucking around in the meeting room for some reason. Don't know why they're allowed in there. But
Yeah.
they gave this to me. Look, let me pull this out because this is exactly what's happening right now. Like,
Yeah.
I want some Bill Nye shit.
Yeah.
I'm so mad that they did.
Will Nye the science guy? Will Riker the science guy?
Oh my god, that's a two co-host show that I would love to watch.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, they have a plan. They go to the bridge to enact it. They plan to jump abruptly to warp. Also, LaForge's acting in this sequence,
Very weird.
so fucking weird. Like when he goes like "woo wee" and "aye aye sir" and like thumbs up, like just cheeses at Riker. Like
I don't buy that kind of enthusiasm from him.
no, I wonder if this was an actor's choice or direction that he was given.
I think it was direction.
Yeah, because it feels like what a white man thinks a black man acts like a depiction of a black person in like a movie from the 50s.
Yeah, it could be that. It could also be like we've given LaForge no character for the last fucking 4 episodes or whatever.
Yeah, like what I think that really what we're supposed to understand of LaForge at this point is that like he's slick and he's super smart.
Yeah, which never is the impression that I get, because I always think of him as being like a fucking nerd.
Yeah, it's like he's slick until he wants to be slick, and then he just like fucking trips on his own feet.
Yeah, like maybe it's like, oh, he's a dweeb who gets excited about this kind of shit, right? But like, I don't know, play it off differently. Let him be a fucking professional in this space, right?
LaForge and Data are two nerds who sit on one of their bedroom floors putting together a Lego kit, but Data wears Crocs and LaForge wears cool Converse.
Yeah, LaForge is like the coolest set of J's you've ever seen in your life. They're like the vintage ones.
Or like old school Vans.
Yeah.
And they're like a weird.
Or like the fucking Forrest Gump shoes. You know what I'm talking about? The Nikes that he runs in. Those are cool as fuck. Like he has more Marty McFly shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And cool sunglasses.
Yes.
But he also tucks his polo into his pants.
Yes.
His cargo pants.
He's got nerd swag.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got dude swag.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. Now that we've threshed out who LaForge is.
Yeah. Yeah. Picard is like talking to the Ferengi and he's like, hey, dweebs, give us our shit back. Fuck you. And they get no response.
Mm-hmm.
everyone is, super fucking excited about this for being so fucking smart. And then the Enterprise, they try to jump to warp and it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's so anticlimactic. Uh, it's really unusual in Star Trek to see a tenuous shoestring plan not pan out because, like, that's half the fun of a lot of Star Trek episodes is that this is this weird plan that they thought up on the fly and then it works.
Yeah.
But it didn't work here, which is weird.
Yeah.
And
I don't think they knew how to play it off.
no, and like, I think that like because so often those plans do work throughout the rest of the franchises, it almost gets a little too old. Like, oh my god, let me guess, it works. But like so early on, when everything else feels like a dud, it does not give you any like dopamine to get you through the rest of the episode. It costs dopamine to get through the scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I know that Maddie speaks French, and I know that Jude speaks French. Do you speak any French?
No, I took Spanish.
Okay, so apparently, I didn't catch this, but I read about this. Because I don't speak French. Uh, when this doesn't work in like that, like right after where everyone's like all disappointed, Picard says merde, or I'm probably saying it wrong.
It means like shit or something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, and it got past censors because it wasn't English.
Yeah. The spy from Team Fortress 2, he is French and he says merde a lot in that fucking game.
I love that.
Yeah.
Also, before this, like right before everything fails and they're like setting it up, and they're all like really excited. Um, Picard says sometimes the best way to fight is to not be there, and Riker responds, "He will triumph who knows when to fight and when not to fight." And Picard is like, "Oh, I'm glad they're still teaching
Sun Tzu
at the academy." And these are the vibes of politicians who think they're a good leader because they play chess.
Let me expand on that thought for a second too.
Please do.
Because Sun Tzu, obviously, if you want to read Sun Tzu, read Sun Tzu. I'm also like, I like to play chess. All that kind of shit.
That's right. Yeah.
I am not immune to being a pompous dickhead. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure everyone who's listening to this podcast is like, he's kind of a pompous dickhead. Reading Sun Tzu and being like, ooh, I'm so fucking smart. Ooh, it is very like, I'm a rich kid. My dad has some like academic job, right? Like your dad's a lawyer or something like that. Your dad's a doctor or something like that. And you're like, I want to feel smart. I'm going to read Sun Tzu.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, right?
And you quote it on your Facebook page.
Yes, and you post all of that shit, and you're like, it's like being a stoic now, where you're like, I read Marcus Aurelius, and suddenly I think I'm the fucking smartest human ever, right? Mm-hmm. Sun Tzu is a valuable thing. It's just like,
but it's people who choose to quote it on the regular, it's just like, whoa. I don't know that there's a cool way to pull this off.
I don't know, like, you can't name drop them. You can like include their shit. Don't like name drop them.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like who in a professional context is like, I'm going to quote this particular like poet, whatever, at you. Like I'm a walking TED talk. And then gets taken seriously in that situation.
I mean, it depends on who you're talking to. Because there are some people who are like dickheads. If you like quote the Buddha at them, they'll be like, so true. You're so smart, right?
Yeah, I mean, I also say this when I work in corporate, but I don't like nod my head and be like, yes, totally, yes.
No, yeah, you have to be talking to an executive.
Well, I'll be like, I get what you're getting at, but also you could just use your own words.
Yeah, no, like it's because in this show they'll be like, we are smart because we're quoting Sun Tzu. The same way that when you're 15, you're like, I'm smart. For me, it was like, I'm smart because I'm quoting Marx. It's the same way that it's like, oh, if I put this quote in this paper, it'll make me seem smarter. Back to the topic at hand. You can be into history, you can be into philosophy, but don't let it be your personality and don't let it be a fucking cover for actually having deep thoughts. Quoting Sun Tzu doesn't make you smart. Understanding Sun Tzu makes you smart.
Yeah. Yeah. Back to realizing that their jump to warp plan did not work, and they're all very quiet and sad.
Yeah.
They're realizing that someone's snooping around the computer's data banks.
Oh yeah, they're getting hacked.
Mm-hmm. Their Instagram got hacked.
Yeah. They clicked on a really suspicious link, the Pornhub ad.
Yeah, they're getting pretty skeezed out by the Ferengi's ambiguous advanced technology.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh fuck, the Ferengs, they're gonna kill us." And Troy points out that the Ferengi have commanded most of their attention, and they haven't considered the planet. They let her be smart for like 2 seconds.
Yeah. You called them Ferengs a second ago?
Ferengs.
That sounds like the Ferengi version of Tang.
What do you think Ferengi tastes like? Bugs?
Slug juice.
Slug juice.
That's it.
Yeah.
Every time they mention it in the show, I'm just like physically like gagging.
No, it's a fucking Tang.
Oh yeah. So the senior officers meet in the observation lounge to brainstorm. When I was doing my reading, that I was like finding some ideas that this is the episode where the trope begins of like Star Trek episodes. They consist of having meetings about problems.
Yeah. You're right.
So Yar and Worf are all for shooting their shot, but Picard's like, no, that won't work.
Both of them are like, please let us beat up these nerds.
They're both really like bright-eyed, like, let me shoot them.
Yeah, fucking Warhawks here.
Although I will say, like, the way that they're trying to convince Picard is like legit tactical. And they're
No, it's not just like Worf being like on her or Yar being like, I want to do my stupid fucking Aikido on them, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like,
the way that they're like suggesting it is like intelligent.
yes.
Yeah, so Yar is like, wasn't them shooting at us an act of war? But Troy's like, well, we were chasing them. So, like, we can't really, hold it to them.
Yet again, Troy actually being smart in this situation. They are letting her be intelligent.
Yeah.
And she's like, please, Picard, fucking talk to them. And he's like, I threatened them. Yeah, I tried everything.
I've used my big daddy voice at them a couple times.
Yeah.
And they did not listen.
Troy actually showing emotional intelligence this episode. This was one of the big reasons where I like started getting on board. But this was like, oh, an officer with emotional intelligence is actually going to try to use emotional intelligence and not just be like a shithead for this episode.
Yeah. When she's like, we haven't said anything that they wanted to hear.
Yeah. Hitting it out of the park on this one, Troy.
Yeah. So Picard dismisses them, but he asks Riker to hang back after class.
He calls him Will.
Yeah.
Which is very like, I don't know.
It shows a sense of familiarity.
Yeah. He calls him, it's not even William. It's Will. Can you come fucking hang out with me for a sec? Like,
Yeah, I feel like they're testing out different diminutives for different members of the crew. Because a couple episodes, Troy called him Bill, and that didn't stick.
No, Bill does not work for William Riker.
Yeah, and then in the last episode, Bev calls Picard Jean. But then henceforth refers to him when she's not calling him Captain, Jean-Luc.
Yeah, which I like.
I think that's cuter. They're kind of testing out nicknames. Yeah, but so Picard asks Riker to hang back, and he's like, I noticed you haven't said anything.
You doing okay, champ?
Yeah.
You need a juice box?
This is the teacher being like, I noticed you didn't raise your hand all class. Like,
you're usually so fucking, verbose.
Yeah. But Riker says that he thinks the crew has covered all the bases, which like, it's nice to see one of the top members of leadership on a team not being the one in a hierarchical setup of a show like this, not just being like, we should do this, and like, the originator of a lot of the ideas. Like, it's nice to see someone in that position know when to step back and let people,
Well, I also, again, the reason this is like sort of in lock and step with the same thing is like, I like that Troy is actually using her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not just like her, they're like, oh, she's useful because she has, emotional telepathy. It's also like, oh, she is an arguably emotionally intelligent character. Now, that comes into question a lot. But like this idea that like, oh, these officers have their specific expertises, and while Riker is a smart person, right, he is like, it's one of those things that I like about Star Trek. They respect each other to a certain level. It's not just like subordinates, listen to me, fuck you. Right.
Yeah.
Even though that does happen sometimes.
Oh yeah, but I feel like this is an episode that like lays some good groundwork for those things.
It also makes me like Riker more, which like in this early season, he's like kind of a shithead.
He's not very fun.
Yeah.
No, so Picard tells Riker that there is one idea left that needs no conversation, and the one they must avoid, the one that leads to total annihilation. What the fuck does that mean? Do you know what they were referring to? Fighting?
Yeah, the idea is total annihilation being blowing each other up. I think the idea there is based off of the thing where it's like, if we engage the Ferengi ship while all of this is happening, right? We're at low power. They don't know that the Ferengi are at low power yet either.
That's fair.
So he's like, if we try to fight them, they will kick the shit out of us.
Yeah, yeah, we got to bloviate for a while.
Fair enough. So they go back to the bridge, and Picard, he's like so like, "Ugh, I really have to fucking do this. Like,
His body language is very much a kid admitting that he just broke a window with a baseball bat.
yeah, he's like, okay, so guys, please don't kill us. We will surrender unconditionally, please.
They play some phone tag, and
Yeah.
like I don't know, like I guess you could argue that like their technology is different, so it took them a minute to figure out how to like make the call connect. But I don't know, it just felt like a waste of screen time in this episode. Although maybe we were just trying to fill time because like what happens down on the surface also feels like a lot of fluff.
I think it's trying to play the tension. It doesn't really work.
Yeah, when the Ferengi does get on the line, I was like, wow, he sounds a lot like Yoda.
He does.
Yeah. And so I looked it up. Not Yoda, not the guy who does the Yoda voice.
Not Brent Goss.
No.
Yeah, so the Ferengi Daimon Tar, he's like, you motherfuckers, unconditional surrender is totally unacceptable. We will die to the last one over such dishonor.
Also, real on the nose, Daimon. Demon.
Demon? Oh, yeah.
Oh, my note that I put here is that Daimon sounds like Yoda plus Dark Crystal character.
True, he does.
Mm-hmm.
Ferengi and Skeksis.
Yeah, they'd be great business partners. Well, you know what, they wouldn't because they're too. It's like when someone's like, "Oh, they'd be a great couple." No, they wouldn't because they're the same person.
True.
They'd be competitors.
They would be. Pepsi and Coke.
It's like when you see like a Taco Bell and McDonald's like right next to each other.
Taco Bell gang for life.
If I Taco Bell exactly twice in my life.
And?
Well, I have IBS, so it didn't go well.
Oh. Oh, that's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
You can't have the sweet, sweet Crunchwrap Supreme.
Can't have most fast food.
God hates you, Em. I'm sorry to say it.
Well, I'm also fucking gay, so of course. Actually, you know what? Okay. As a person raised Catholic, I like religious shit makes my skin crawl. But I can appreciate that religion does something for people that is fulfilling, and it doesn't have to be toxic necessarily.
Yeah.
But at the Pride Parade today, it's the church that's right off campus of UWM. Like they had a really big group, really great float, very enthusiastic showing for the parade. And they had this big banner that said, "God is proud of you."
Oh, that's nice.
And even my cold, dead, anti-religious heart was like, that's lovely. I'm sure someone out there needs to hear that.
Yeah, no, like I've always said it this way. I have like my like bullshit philosophical reasons for not believing in God. Like I can, say like the Camus line, which I just talked about, not quoting Camus, but like where it's like that's philosophical suicide. You're taking away the absolute freedom of, like the existential sort of question, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are resigning yourself to devoting the meaning of your life to God rather than living unto itself.
Yeah,
blocking yourself.
You're nodding along rather than thinking for yourself.
You are living a perfectly valid existence, right? Like I personally don't believe in God because like I don't think God can exist in such a shitty world. Also, that means God gave me depression, which like that's a whole bag to unpack.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah. And like when what you've decided the meaning of your life suddenly goes away, then you have no reason to live. And then suddenly, well, right?
Yeah, you're putting all your eggs in the church basket.
The church basket or the family basket or the
Yeah, put a couple eggs in the church basket. Also put some eggs in your lesbian softball team basket.
And put some eggs in the you basket and the fact that you're simply alive.
Right? Yeah. It's spring now and it smells fucking fantastic out, and I get to experience this every year.
I had a good cup of coffee this morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, spring in Wisconsin is a Schedule 1 drug.
It fucking rocks.
Yeah.
That being said, I think religion, I'm never going to like be like religion is bad because stuff like that happens, right? Where it's like God is proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
As a gay person, we're going to use religion to reinforce your identity. Or like I think a lot about how during the Haitian Revolution, religion was used as like an organizing line to literally upend slavery and stuff like that. Even though I am personally not religious, and it is very like heartwarming and meaningful to see shit like that.
Yeah.
How did we get on this tangent?
You said God hates me because I can't eat Taco Bell.
More proof. Yeah, no, okay, yeah, sorry. I take back everything I ever said. You're living a lie. There's a person who can't eat Taco Bell.
Okay. Okay, so when Daimon says this on the line, like, "Oh, we refuse to surrender," you get that like little like flute of epiphany.
Yeah.
I was like, just made that moment so much.
Good sting.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
sting.
So it becomes clear that actually both ships are trapped, and Picard twists around to like do this like the signal with
Cut the
his
fucking line.
yeah like the waving his hand across his neck like cut the phone.
Yeah.
Such a fucking goofy move. I want that as a gif. What am I talking about? I have the technology. I can make it happen. But yeah, Picard does the whole you break me up.
He's crumpling paper into the fucking phone. Like,
Yeah, and like makes it as to like make the Ferengi believe they've only received a partial audio. And the Ferengi are like, we don't really know what you said. Your line's breaking up a lot, but please accept our surrender.
yeah,
Like
don't
they
kill
flipped
us.
so fast.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? That's actually like pretty in line with what the Ferengi become later. But it's like a moment like this where it's like, why would I take them seriously?
Yeah.
Like why would I believe that these are the new Klingon?
You know, the Klingons are like the noble savage trope. In the noble savage trope, which is fucked, but the idea is that you're supposed to respect that in some, respect, right?
Yeah, it's like they're savage, but they make up for it with their like version of chivalry or
Their
whatever the fuck.
code of honor. But like the Klingons, it's like, oh yeah, they all have insane martial prowess and like they will kill you. They have all of the shit that makes them dangerous in war. The Ferengi don't have any of it.
They're a race of berserkers.
Yeah, they are all Viking berserkers. You're right.
Yeah, and the Ferengi are all just titchy kids that have had too many sugar cereals. Also, they cast the Ferengi as being really short, which, not that short people can't be threatening and powerful, but like in terms of this era of mainstream Hollywood, is not a choice that backs up this is your new Klingon. Especially because that they cast short people, and then they're standing next to Riker and Worf.
Yeah,
So
two
it looks
6
tiny.
foot tall. Yeah, if you were like, oh, the Ferengi, they're like short and they're like physically small, but they have this fucking crazy technology where it's like,
Yeah.
but then like later in the episode, they show their like stupid whip lightsaber things that are just like basically just stupider phasers because it's hard to come up with a weapon
Yeah.
that's better than a phaser. Warhammer reference time. Because in the Warhammer universe, they're lasers. They don't go through fucking like Space Marine armor. So Space Marines have guns that are bolters that fire a small grenade along it with like in a canister, and it's like crazy.
Is this like bullet-sized grenade that enters your body and then explodes?
It's a huge fucking bullet.
Dude,
Yeah.
oh my god, don't let the military industrial complex hear about that shit.
They tried it already. The Soviets
Really?
tried it. The Soviets, I mean, okay, we have rocket propelled grenades, RPGs, right? That exists already, shoulder mounted, right? That's like whatever.
But the idea that you can fire something into your body and explodes from within, no, thank you.
Yeah, no, the Soviets tried it with, they had gyro jets, which is jet propelled rounds, which didn't work. And it still doesn't.
So you could say like, okay, the Ferengi are physically small, but they're really smart and they will like just outwit you, totally con the shit out of you, and their technology is crazy. That would have worked.
Yeah.
Except they're hopping around like apes.
Bumbling fucking idiots.
Oh my god, we're definitely getting ahead of ourselves.
Yep. Okay, so Picard's like, turn on your fucking camera.
Yeah, I thought that was actually a pretty smart diplomatic move to say it's not our custom to accept surrender without visual contact. Like it almost comes off as like an honor thing.
Yeah.
Effective way to coerce them to show their screen.
Yeah, I like that. They turn on the cameras and Daimon is like, fuck, I know you guys are ugly, but god damn, you're ugly.
Yes.
Yeah, so the Daimon is like, I'm offering surrender, plus some fucking offers as a POW. And Data's like, shit, I'm glad we don't do that.
Yeah, he just fucking offers them up like a fucking new neighbor bringing you cookies. Like, oh, if you need a extra cup of POWs, let me know.
You guys want some fucking Ferengi staying on your ship? Fucking Picard's like, we'll pass. We'll pass on the fucking on the prisoners of war.
Yeah, well, he's like, oh, I guess your surrender might be enough. Also, good like diplomatic thinking on your feet for Picard and though, kind of putting them on edge.
Good writing. here.
Mhm.
Like some of the stuff is a little fun, but like a lot of this is what I was like, I'm going to bat for this episode.
Mhm.
A lot of the interactions like here where it's like, oh, we're basically playing dick chicken with the Ferengi, right?
Yeah.
That is intro.
Yeah, so weird. But I mean, like, Troy does say that.
It was distorted. He was trying to fuck with
Yeah,
them.
I don't know why Troy understands that and not like Yar, who's on comms.
This
Like,
is the episode where Troy is allowed to be competent.
Yeah, and she's like, "Hey, he's using like an Instagram filter. Don't take this as
Bro, he's catfishing you.
yeah."
You're going to show up to that thing. He is not going to have those ears.
God, was it a congressional representative that couldn't turn off the cat filter?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so they like fucking hustle into the meeting room, but for some reason there's fucking kids in there, and
Yeah.
Riker like shoos them out. He's like, come on, get out of my fucking room.
Well, the way that he shoos them out was like pretty cute.
Mhm.
It's very uncle vibes, like fun uncle vibes.
Premonitions of Beard Riker there.
Yeah, but why the fuck are just random children allowed to free chicken around this huge starship where there are 1,000 people? Like maybe this is like
Wesley's not allowed on the bridge. These kids are allowed in the fucking like meeting room.
right, like I mean maybe it's kind of like, is it in the Netherlands where like moms leave their kids and like their strollers outside the cafe just like for an hour at a time because like it's safe enough to do that? Like maybe it's like safe enough for them to wander around the ship, but like they are basically in a firefight. Why are like there should be like not exactly like red alert, but just like, hey, security teams,
Keep them
Like-
away from any
like-
important place.
yeah, like you need to have this certain code to get through this door on this deck,
Yeah.
and like anyone not above this like clearance needs to like leave the area.
Yeah, also, like, the Enterprise is fucking huge. You can't find somewhere cooler to play than the fucking conference room?
I don't know though, because like you know how I was saying that when I was a kid, I would like go hang out in my mom's office.
Oh, true.
Like I loved hanging out in the conference room because the furniture was kind of weird.
I used to do my homework in my dad's conference room.
Yeah,
I thought it was fucking cool.
yeah, or just being like, ooh, like they have important calls here, and I'm here drawing a shitty Pikachu
Yeah.
with highlighters and red pens.
Hell yeah. They do the team huddle. And they sent out like a probe, and they were like expecting info back soon. They're like, oh, check out this fucking planet for us.
But we sent out the robot police dog. He'll be reporting back soon.
Yeah. And Data's like, we don't know fucking much about this planet, but like he's playing with the fucking Chinese finger trap, which like you should have that in your files. It's been around for like 8,000 years.
This is a part of Data that's a little unclear at this point in the show that I would have been really interested to know more. It's like, how long has he been operational? How long has he been in Starfleet? He's on the bridge of the flagship, so presumably like
A
enough.
long ass time.
Yeah, but like, you know, let's presume that he's got a pretty blank slate of his operations system.
He's got fucking like Google in his brain though. How do they not have anything on Chinese finger traps?
I don't know though, but like, have you ever watched like, you know, robots doing simple tasks? Or like robots like falling over and picking themselves back up.
Yeah.
Like things that we do really naturally, but like when you're something with this certain set of functions, it's actually really hard to problem solve.
Yeah.
So like, I wonder if it's that kind of thing. Like, I mean, like, I think that that's the joke that they're going for.
Yeah.
And like, it is funny and cute, but it's also just like, you're a supercomputer.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And Picard's like, what are you doing, Data? Data's like, I'm sorry. I appear to have reached a functional impasse. I'm stuck.
The way
And
he says stuck, it was funny, but it also felt a little bit like gay vibes.
I'm what? Like he bent his wrist 90 degrees. He's like, I'm stuck. Like what I don't remember this.
Like the way that he said stuck, like when he says stuck, his mouth hangs open at the end.
You guys will
And
never
he's like
understand.
looking up at Picard, and like, and he's got his finger in a hole and it's stuck. Like, I don't want to get too graphic,
You
but
guys will never understand why I laughed that hard at that. The face M made when they said that. I'm stuck. Like, funniest shit out of this.
yeah, I didn't know what to make of that, but yeah.
Yeah. So Picard like helps him fucking free himself. And then he's like, oh yeah, this planet used to belong to the Khan Empire. They were like an ancient, powerful space federation that existed over 600,000 years ago.
So fucking long.
I like this.
Yeah,
I
this is
like
fun.
I like this a lot.
Like this aspect of the exposition of this, like, super, super old empire felt really like the movie Alien to me, where there's
Yeah.
this, like, ancient but really advanced alien society.
Yeah.
And, like, they're sprawling, and they obviously, like, commanded a huge empire.
Yeah.
Uh,
They have this crazy technology
Yeah.
that lets them like move planets.
the actual execution of the portal that we see in a bit,
Fucked.
uh, very silly, but concept is very fun.
Yeah, and like, okay, Dungeons and Dragons, like one of the like default settings is the Forgotten Realms, where it's like, oh, there used to be this like gigantic empire, and it's like super fucking old. I love the idea that like, yes, humans have just gotten to space, but there are other things that have been here for fucking ever, right? It's
Mhm.
something that's always like an easy analogy is like Lovecraft, where it's like, oh yeah, they're like these pre-humans that are like fucking forever ago, and like there's the Lovecraftian cults that have been around for fucking ever, and these gods have been around for fucking ever, right? I like the idea that like in Star Trek, it's like, oh no, it's not like we're not just like fighting like the Borg, we're not just like fighting like Klingons or Ferengi or whatever. It's like ancient, unknowable force
Mhm.
that you, as this like modern civilization, have to cope with. It's like if like Jesus came back now or something like that.
Yeah.
Or
And
more.
also, Jesus is a really highly advanced alien.
Yes, it's Scientology is real. Like that's what it'll be like. Fuck,
We just reverse engineered ourselves into Scientology.
Tom Cruise hit my line.
God. Imagine if he did, though. That'd be a really weird conversation.
I'd say you were great in Top Gun Maverick and also Top Gun. What was it like being the most homoerotic movie ever? Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, we used to, they fucking moved planets as their defense system?
Mm-hmm.
That's.
This is where I was getting a little confused. They moved stars, and did they take the planets with the stars?
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
Which is so fucking sick.
Mm-hmm. I would have loved more time spent on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like fleshing this out. Like that. This is a really cool concept.
You don't need the Ferengi for this plot.
No.
But you need. They're stuck on this fucking planet. There's this ancient, whatever, that thinks the Deccan Empire never went away. And they have to learn a ton of shit about this ancient fucking empire. That would be so sick.
Yeah. You know what? This episode is like a hot dog, but like the sausage is not like it's like a breakfast sausage size, like little itty bitty link, and then just like a cup of mustard on top.
Yes.
It's like the proportions of the things that I'm interested in this episode are not correct.
Yes, you're right. You are 100% correct. It's like a fucking Chicago style pizza. Depth, not what I'm looking for, right? Looking for a length in my pizza slice. New York style for life, baby.
For me, different kinds of pizzas are for different emotional needs.
Right. If I'm in the mood for a lasagna, I'll eat a fucking lasagna and I'll never eat Chicago style pizza.
When I have that deep, deep, deep hole in my soul I need to fill, I go for Chicago pizza. When I'm needing to spice things up, I'm looking for fun, then I go to Ian's Pizza.
A New York style pizza. The best kind of pizza.
What classifies a New York style pizza?
It's thin.
Mm-hmm.
Slices are big.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the classic kind of pizza. You know what I mean?
That depends on who you're fucking talking to. That's the whole point of different kinds of pizza.
I'm sorry. I'm fucking sorry.
They're also families from New York.
If you fucking think, right, for 1 second that like, oh, fucking Chicago, founded like 200 fucking years after New York. We were the first ones to do pizza. You'll notice.
You were the first ones to do pizza?
Yeah, fuck Italy. New York, #1 baby.
Oh my god. I don't think that Wisconsin has a very like specific or strong stance about pizza. I think it's more just like we osmosis shit from like Chicago. And maybe this is why I don't have a lot of pizza alliance. I just enjoy a lot of different kinds of pizzas because I don't have any skin in the game.
Yeah, I was born in New York. It's in my blood. New York #1 baby.
But if you try to tell me that cheese from somewhere else is better than Wisconsin, I will fight you.
Yeah, the only place that I've had comparable cheese in is actual fucking France. And it's like kind of the same.
Well, okay, just because you're in Wisconsin does not mean the cheese is good. You have to go to like your corner store.
You gotta get the primo shit. You can, and in the same way, like you go to France, it's not like a crap single. It's gonna be better in France.
Yeah. In Wisconsin, you go to Woodman's and get the fresh cheese curds that are still squeaky.
Yes, and they are the most baller shit you've ever had in your life. It's so good. Okay, tangent about pizza and cheese. Done.
Oh my god. I like how we're like, this is a pretty easy episode. It'll be easy. Not take too long. No.
We're tangenting like real long. So they've got so they went about the Khan Empire and they're talking, and a probe launched over the transmission some telemetry showing that both ships are indeed trapped by the force emanating from the planet. Picard suggested they team up with Ferengi on the surface, and as the crew heads out, LaForge does his little like tosses the finger trap to Data, and he catches it. And it's like cute.
Yeah. This is why. Oh, I love Data and LaForge. They warm my heart.
They're cute. They're cute little buddies.
Mm-hmm.
They remind me of like me and my friends when we were in high school.
Mm-hmm.
In it, they would play Magic together.
You know how people say like there's this big fight between Julian and Garrick.
Yeah.
And then Julian and Miles O'Brien. But so that like there's people who say that like, you know, Julian and Miles are a couple. There's people who say that Julian and Garrick are a couple. And like for me, Julian and Garrick are like in a sexual relationship. Julian and Miles are in a pan-romantic relationship, but it doesn't have a sexual nature.
I think that I think that they're just friends. Like genuinely, like it's like it reminds me a lot of like masculine friendships, right? Where it's like this is the phrase that said like, oh, men love to fall in love with each other and never acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's like this is hard to explain, but it's kind of just like what it's like to be really close friends as a dude.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're competitive in this way and you like joke with each other in this way, right? I don't know.
Like you spend all this time with each other, and like especially when like Keiko goes down to Bajor for a while, and like they just turn O'Brien's house into like LARP Central.
Yeah.
And there's all their shit everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like always hanging out at each other's houses, and their shit is in each other's houses. Like that reads more of a relationship to me.
See, that reads like last night I had to bring fucking Warhammer figurines that he left in my car to my friend, right? Mm-hmm. Like we like lend shit to each other all of the time. Like it's always like I'm going to a convention with my buddy, like down in Chicago later.
Oh, cool. Which convention?
It's a magic thing.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Nice.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know, like their relationship reminds me of Data and LaForge's relationship.
Right. Well, so I was going to say, to me, I read Julian and Miles as like a emotionally romantic relationship. But then, and like, I hear sometimes people say the same thing about Geordi and Data. But to me, Geordi and Data just read more as like a really good friendship.
They're
but also, maybe this is like coming from a lot of my close friends don't live in the area. And friends that do live in the area that I'm close with, like, I think this is more of a me problem, but I just am, I don't get vulnerable and close with people very easily. And I think that this is like, I'm not sure if this is like so much a Zoomer thing, but I think it's really a millennial thing of really having a hard time with having any or many really close friends. Like the loneliness and the fear of vulnerability is like a really big problem with people of my generation.
Well, yeah, because millennials are constantly, and this is the same thing with Gen Z, constantly hiding behind a sheen of irony all of the time.
Yeah.
Because we are all afraid of getting hurt, right?
Yeah, and like...
kill the part of you that cringes, not the part that is cringe.
I remember having a conversation in college with my best friend at the time about like dating and the difficulties of dating, and I think this applies also to friendships of like, you don't want to be the person who's more invested than the other.
Yeah.
And then when it becomes obvious that you are that person, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And, which I think is bullshit, and that sucks.
For me, it's always like, I invested that time. Was it valuable to me? Right.
But I think in that way, you're a better adjusted human being than I am.
I don't know about that. I don't know. Like,
I mean, I think that people like to think of being a well-adjusted person is like a whole thing. I think that like
There are
you,
aspects of it.
yeah, like you are much more mature than me in some ways, and there are other ways that I am more mature than you.
No, yeah. Well, like you handle shit better than I do in a lot of ways. But like I think it's like this idea of like, oh, time investment and like, oh, one person is going to be more into the relationship than the other. And it's embarrassing to be the one who's less in the relationship, right? But like that literally just means like, oh my God, you've committed the sin of caring, which is
Right.
the ultimate sin in the
Mm-hmm.
mind of millennials and Gen Z.
Yeah.
It's this idea that like if you give a fuck about anything, if you have any principle, life is going to kick the shit out of you because millennials and Gen Z have nothing to look forward to in life, and caring about anything only brings you pain.
Yeah. Yeah. God forbid you're not sarcastic and actually like genuine.
Yeah. God forbid
but
you
also,
enjoy a movie on the premise of I like this movie.
yeah. Yeah. It's like this constant ask of culture that people be both genuine but also like detached.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, I will restate this, listeners. Kill the part of you that cringes, not the part of you that is cringe. A fucking self-actualization 101.
Mm-hmm. I'm working on it.
Yeah. No, and like, I mean, I can't sit here and pretend like I never struggle with that.
Oh yeah, yeah, but it's your goal.
Right. Yeah. It's this idea that like, right now you and I are sitting here recording a Star Trek podcast, right?
Yeah.
And I go and play Magic the Gathering on Friday nights, and I have lots more sex than a lot of people. That is it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not a loser for liking the things that you like.
Yeah, I
And
remember
for being involved in relationships and care.
before we started doing this, one thing that was kind of holding me back from like thinking seriously about it was like I was like, this is kind of like, yeah, I'm in a band and I know acoustic guitar. Let me pull it out during a party and play. Like I didn't want to be another idiot with a podcast. And there's so many idiots with podcasts. I think I've mentioned this to you before, but I'll say it again. There was this guy that I dated for like a month and then he ghosted me.
Mhm.
Which fucking sucked because I really like this guy. But he did tell me this one lovely nugget of wisdom that like I still carry with me today. And it's because at the time I still haven't fucking done this. Because I have too many side projects. But at the time I was thinking about making a zine.
Mhm.
And I was just like telling him about it. I was like, I want to do this thing, but fucking everyone makes zines. I don't want to be another idiot with a zine.
Mhm.
And he was like, okay, think of all the substandard content out there. And people make space for that substandard content. People enjoy that substandard content. Make your trash. Someone will enjoy it. And if nothing else, you will enjoy it.
Yeah.
And like, that's the whole point. You don't need to like make a Mona Lisa. And it wasn't those exact words, but that was like his general like meaning. And I don't know, like
there's a simple joy of creation.
Yeah.
There's a simple idea that like, yes, and even if I'm not doing that great at it, there's a joy in the fact that I'm going to create something. And that means something to me as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I came to terms with really early with the guitar, where it was like, I was fucking awful at the guitar.
You fucking rip a guitar, dude.
I was. Everyone starts off bad, though.
Right, yeah.
Everyone starts off, not knowing, playing Wonderwall or something like that, right?
But you're the poster child for fuck it, just suck for a while, and then, eventually maybe you won't, and that'll be cool.
Eat shit until you don't.
Yeah.
That is, like, one of the things I never got into skating, but I had a buddy growing up, really into skating, and he told me that phrase exactly when we were, like, in 6th grade. He was like, eat shit until you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's good.
Wisest words I've ever heard from a fucking 12-year-old, right? That
really good.
Yeah, it sticks in my heart to this day. Everyone listening to this podcast, right? There are going to be days where, like, you don't know what the fuck is happening. You don't know why you're doing something. You don't know anything like that, right? One thing I've learned, right? A lot of decisions that you make are going to seem less big in a couple of years, right? 2. This is a big fucking number 2, right? Nobody is innately good at anything. You might think you're innately good at something. No, you learned how to do that through time and conditioning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone's like, I'm cynical like my dad, or I'm litigious like my mother. No, shut the fuck up. They taught you that.
Yeah.
You can learn things.
Yeah, it's just that you learned that behavior early on. So it feels like it's already baked into your operating system.
Feels that the same way that now, right? Playing like, my tapped minor arpeggios or whatever feels like secondhand for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
That feels natural. That wouldn't have felt natural like 4 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're doing this podcasting thing. We're going on this huge tangent right now.
Yeah, that's one reason why I'm like not stressing out about tangents because like I'm having fun. Whatever.
Yeah. We're gonna eat shit until we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to shout out that 12-year-old that was so wise?
Shout out Farah. You told me that.
That was Farah.
That was Farah. Farah told me that when we were kids. You know, I don't know if you're listening to this podcast or not. You might not even remember telling me this. But that was real as fuck. You're a G.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
The guy I got that nugget of wisdom from was Phil from Philadelphia.
Phil of Philadelphia.
But oh my god, like when I learned that he was from Philadelphia, I was just like,
Did you say it? Did you say the joke?
no, I was like, I want to make a joke, but I feel like it's like when you're in third grade and you hear the same fucking joke about your name all the time. I was like, I'm gonna giggle on the inside, but I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy that it was Phil from Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Yeah. Be funnier if it was Phil from the future. Yeah. That was a fucking impassioned tangent from me. Kill the part of you that cringes. And back to Data and LaForge. They did. Fucking Data doesn't have.
Yeah, Data has no cringe.
Data doesn't have the part of it that cringes.
LaForge embarrasses himself often enough to make up for it, though.
Yes.
He's cringe enough for both of them.
Yeah. Well, Data is cringe, right? But he's happier than all of us because he
doesn't fucking.
He doesn't feel it.
Yeah.
Stop feeling it. Acknowledge the fact that, like, if it makes you happy, it makes you happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my fucking tangent. That was our fucking tangent.
Yeah. Yeah. We did this together.
We did this together, baby.
All right. So I think we're in Act 3 now.
They're on the bridge, and they call it Daimon. Daimon's like, wow, guess what? You guys are still fucking ugly.
Yeah. Like, he expects it to change in the 5 minutes.
It's like, God damn, you guys are ugly.
It's just...
I should start doing that. I'm
just
going to call someone ugly, and then they walk away, and then when they come back, I'm like, you're still fucking ugly.
I'm just going to greet you now. Like, every time I open the door for you to come into my house to podcast, I'll be like, damn, still ugly. Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Ferengi figured out in the meantime, while they're in their little meeting, where the force that's trapped them is actually coming from.
The planet.
And so they're like pissed because they realize they've been duped. And there's like some confrontation over this deception. But then Picard's like, yeah. But like, you know, we're both in this predicament, so how about we just work together? Because we have a common interest. And like, on the one hand, yes, this is, you know, effective problem solving. Like, you know, we're both in the same dilemma. Let's work together, figure this out. But also, like, Picard's like, I can be conniving and deceptive.
But
when you do it, it's not cool anymore.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I lied to you, but yeah, whatever. Like, no, let's move on. It's not helpful to us anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care that you're upset about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, to be fair, what else are you gonna do aside from like shrug your shoulders and be like, "Whoops, sorry."
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Whoops, I was trying to do something to my own advantage. Meh.
Yeah, well, yeah, we are in a fucking tense. Like, I don't know. Like, that's like, I get being pissed about it, but also like, what is Picard supposed to do aside from be like, "Whoops," like.
Yeah, I mean, like, also this is expecting like peak emotional like intelligence from everyone all the time, but he could say like,
yeah, sorry,
yes,
I did that.
I lied. You know, this was a fraught situation. We weren't really sure what was going on. We're sorry for deceiving you. You know, but now that this has happened, we kind of all understand what's happening now. Let's move forward. But I guess you could also say, like, you know, the Ferengi are kind of antagonistic to begin with, so like maybe that just wouldn't work with them, and they'd see that as like a point upon which to push for an in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Once again, I'm overthinking this shit.
I also like, okay, if you're actively like doing brinksmanship for war, right, and you're shooting at each other, I feel like the like, I'm sorry, maybe not the best move. I hate that, like, oh, it shows weakness line, but like, that does actually show weakness.
Yeah, in a militant situation, yes. Like I'm someone who would really like to see people say I'm sorry more often in like media and politics. Like, I would like to see politicians admit when they fuck up more often because I would trust them more. But
Yeah, but that would require that they have like cognizant of the fact that they actually did fuck up and not that they're actually playing 60 chess and like we can't hold them accountable because they're smarter than all of us.
yeah, it would require a different reality.
It would require a world in which politicians think beyond West Wing dialogue.
I'm over here playing soccer thinking I really prefer if I were playing basketball.
To be fair, basketball is cooler than soccer. Get fucked, Europeans.
I don't have an opinion about either. I mean, I've enjoyed both. Okay, let's see.
They're like, Picard, you're a bitch for doing that. And Picard's like, fuck you guys. Yada yada yada. Get on with the helping us.
Why can't you move on from it?
Yeah. Babe, that was back then. This is now. I changed.
But so Data like makes an aside to Geordi about Yankee traders. He's totally like the dad of the theater, like leaning over and like just making like a little dad joke.
Yeah.
And this is like one of those first times where we see that the Ferengi have like crazy hearing.
Yep.
And
you're like, what are you saying?
Yeah, Data's like, the fuck is that supposed to mean?
And they're like, it shows that you enjoy capitalism or whatever.
Yeah. Card's like, we understand that you're concerned with profit, and they're like, we're concerned with equity. It's like, that is one way to phrase it.
Hey, this is M from the future. Yes, I borrowed Janeway's time travel device to spare you, the listener, from having to slog through a 3-hour episode. We decided to split this one into 2, so it's a bit more digestible. We had a lot of big thoughts on the Ferengi that we ultimately decided to address in a later episode, like I said earlier in the show. But that unfortunately means that Ryan and I copiously indulged in many, many tangents. But don't worry, we'll be putting out part 2 within a couple of days. So that's all, folks. Smooches. Talk at you soon.